My beloved child, I have been watching you long before you realized you were being watched, not with judgment, not with disappointment, but with a depth of attention that never blinks. There are things I have waited to say to you, not because I was silent, but because the moment had to be right. And now you can feel it, can't you? That quiet tension in your spirit, a sense that something has been building. This is not random. This is not coincidence. This is about you and me, and yes, we need to talk. You have been carrying questions you never fully speak out loud. You smile, you function, you keep moving, but inside you wonder why certain doors never opened, why some prayers seem to echo back unanswered, why your heart learned to brace itself instead of expect. I see that. I have always seen that. And what I am about to reveal will reframe everything you thought was delay, loss, or silence. Listen closely now. There are moments in your life you labeled as ordinary that were actually protected. There were relationships you begged me to keep that I had to remove to save the future version of you. There were seasons you thought were empty that were actually quiet training grounds where I was teaching your spirit how to stand when no applause followed. You didn't fail in those moments. You were being formed. I know you sometimes think you missed something irreversible. You replay decisions. You imagine alternate timelines. But hear me clearly, nothing essential has been lost. What is meant to meet you is still on its way, but it cannot arrive to the version of you that doubts your worth. That is why this conversation matters. That is why I am drawing you in closer right now. Something huge is waiting for you, but it does not announce itself with noise. It waits for alignment. It waits for honesty. It waits for the moment you stop striving to prove yourself and start trusting that I have already chosen you. You don't need to become someone else to be called. You need to awaken to who you already are. There is a reason your spirit feels restless lately. You are outgrowing the places that once felt safe. You are sensing that comfort is no longer enough. That is not rebellion. That is invitation. I am inviting you into clarity, into depth, into a level of intimacy where you no longer guess what I am doing, but recognize my voice even in the unfamiliar. Don't skip this moment. Too many people scroll past their turning point because it doesn't look dramatic enough at first. But what I am unfolding in you begins internally, quietly, undeniably. And once it starts, it cannot be undone. You may think this message is for someone like you, but it is for you, specifically you. I know what you've been asking me in the dark. I know the promises you are afraid to believe again. Stay till the end of this unfolding, because clarity is coming, and when it comes, you will understand why this talk could not happen any sooner. I am not distant. I am not finished. And I am not done speaking to you. There are truths I have held back until now, not because you weren't worthy, but because you weren't ready to see how deeply involved I have been in every hidden corner of your life. You assumed distance where there was actually precision. You thought I stepped away, when in reality I stepped closer, quiet enough not to overwhelm you, intentional enough not to lose you. You need to understand this. Some of the pressure you feel right now is not coming from the world. It is coming from the shift I am creating inside you. I am rearranging your inner foundations. I am touching motives you never questioned. I am loosening attachments you thought were permanent. And yes, that can feel unsettling before it feels freeing. You have been trying to move forward while still carrying old versions of yourself. That is why progress felt heavy. That is why joy felt delayed. You cannot step into what I prepared while holding on to what I already outgrew in you. This is not punishment. This is preparation. I know there are nights when you wonder if you are behind, if others have somehow passed you by. You scroll. You compare. You quietly ask, "What about me?" And I answer you now without hesitation. You are not late. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are being timed, precisely. What I am about to bring into your life requires discernment you didn't have before, courage you had to develop, and a strength that only comes from walking through things you never wanted to experience. If I had given it to you earlier, it would have crushed you or distracted you. If I give it to you now, it will align you. Something huge is waiting for you, but it will not tolerate half-trust or divided loyalty. That is why I am speaking to you so directly. That is why this feels personal. Because it is. You have mistaken my silence for absence, but silence was the space where your discernment was sharpened. You have mistaken closed doors for rejection, but they were redirections you will one day thank me for. I was protecting you from paths that looked right but would have slowly emptied you. Don't skip this part of the message. What I am telling you now explains why your heart has been changing. Why things that once excited you no longer satisfy. Why you crave depth instead of noise. That is not boredom, that is maturity awakening. I am asking you to trust me at a deeper level than before. Not surface belief. Not borrowed faith. I am asking for surrender of control disguised as caution. I'm asking you to stop rehearsing worst-case scenarios and start preparing your spirit for best-case fulfillment. Stay till the end of this unfolding, because there is a shift happening that you will recognize only if you stay attentive. What comes next will require you to move differently, speak differently, and choose differently. And when the moment arrives, you will realize this conversation was the turning point you didn't know you were standing in. I am not building something temporary with you. I am shaping something lasting. And this is only deepening. You have reached a point where pretending is no longer an option. You can feel it. The weight of maintaining appearances has become heavier than the fear of being honest. This is where many turn back, but you are still here. It tells me something about you. It tells me you are ready to hear what most never slowed down enough to receive. I want you to know this clearly. I am not asking you to perform for me. I am asking you to be real with me. The strength you think I require is not the strength that impresses others. It is the courage to admit when you are tired, when you are uncertain, when you don't have the answers but still choose to trust me with the next step. There is a quiet breaking happening inside you, and it is sacred. Old expectations are loosening their grip. Old identities are falling away. You are beginning to realize that who you were trying to be was never who I asked you to become. That realization can feel disorienting, but it is also the doorway to freedom. You have been measuring your life by visible outcomes, while I have been measuring your growth by invisible transformation. You looked for signs and achievements. I planted them in endurance. You searched for confirmation in results. I embedded it in resilience. And now, you are strong in ways you cannot yet see, but soon you will. Something huge is waiting for you, and it will require you to stop shrinking yourself to fit into spaces I never designed for you. You were not created to merely survive environments that drain you. You were created to bring life, clarity, and presence into places that need what only you carry. That is why you have felt misaligned lately. You are no longer meant to blend in. Don't skip this truth. Not every delay was about timing. Some delays were about trust. Some blessings waited because they needed your agreement, not just my permission. I will not force what you are still afraid to receive. But I will keep inviting you until fear no longer gets the final word. You have underestimated how closely I have been guiding you. Even when you chose paths that weren't ideal, I rerouted consequences. Even when you doubted, I sustained you. Even when you stopped listening, I never stopped speaking. The fact that you are still standing is not accidental. It is evidence. Stay till the end of this unfolding, because what I am revealing next will change how you interpret your past. You will see patterns where you once saw chaos. You will recognize protection where you once felt abandoned. And when that clarity settles in, regret will lose its power over you. I am preparing you for alignment, not the kind that feels comfortable, but the kind that feels right. The kind that quiets your inner conflict. The kind that allows you to breathe without pretending. The kind that finally matches who you are becoming with where you are going. You are closer than you think. And this conversation is still opening doors inside you that have been closed for far too long. There is a decision forming inside you right now, even if you haven't named it yet. You can sense it in the way your heart pauses when you think about the future, in the way certain truths no longer let you sleep comfortably. This is not anxiety, it is awareness. I am inviting you to choose differently than you ever have before. Up until now, you have made many choices out of survival. You chose what kept the peace. You chose what avoided loss. You chose what felt safest when you were unsure of me or unsure of yourself. I do not shame you for that. I protected you through that. But I need you to hear this gently and clearly. Survival is no longer your assignment. You are stepping into a season where agreement matters more than effort, where alignment matters more than speed, where obedience is not about rules but about trust. I am not asking you to leap blindly. I am asking you to stop negotiating with fear as if it deserves a vote. There are things I have placed in your heart that you keep minimizing. You call them unrealistic. You call them impractical. You call them probably not for someone like me. But those desires did not come from nowhere. I planted them. And every time you ignore them, your spirit feels the ache of unfinished truth. Something huge is waiting for you, and it is not just an external change. It is an internal permission. Permission to believe that goodness can meet you without pain attached. Permission to receive without first suffering. Permission to trust that I do not tease my children with false hope. Don't skip this moment. Many people miss what I am about to say because it challenges the identity they built around disappointment. You have learned how to expect less so you won't be hurt. You have learned how to stay guarded and call it wisdom. But I am asking you to let me redefine strength for you. Strength is not bracing for impact. Strength is standing open while knowing I will not let you fall. Strength is choosing faith when fear presents logical arguments. Strength is moving forward even when the outcome is not fully visible, because you know who is walking with you. You are not standing at the edge of failure. You are standing at the edge of surrender. And surrender is not loss. It is transfer. Transfer of weight. Transfer of control. Transfer of outcomes from your limited vision to my complete perspective. Stay till the end of this unfolding, because what is coming next will require courage that feels unfamiliar. I will ask you to speak when you would normally stay quiet. I will ask you to walk away from what looks stable but keeps you small. I will ask you to trust me in ways that stretch you, but never break you. You will look back on this moment and realize this was the conversation where things shifted internally before anything changed externally. This was where fear loosened its grip. This was where clarity began to outweigh confusion. This was where you stopped asking, "What if it doesn't work?" and started asking, "What if this is exactly what I was created for?" I am not rushing you, but I am calling you forward. I am not pressuring you, but I am inviting you higher. And I am not leaving you to figure this out alone. This is about you and me. And we are not finished talking. You are beginning to notice the shift, even in the smallest moments. The way certain conversations no longer satisfy you. The way distractions lose their flavor faster than they used to. The way silence now speaks louder than noise. This is not emptiness. This is refinement. I am narrowing your focus so you can recognize what truly belongs to you. There was a time when you begged me to explain everything at once. You wanted clarity before commitment, assurance before obedience. But if I had revealed the full picture back then, fear would have disguised itself as logic and talked you out of becoming who you are now ready to be. So I gave you pieces, dabs, moments, enough light for the next move, not the whole road. And now, here you are, stronger than you realize, wiser than you admit, standing at a threshold that once would have intimidated you. You think you arrived here accidentally, but every tear, every delay, every unanswered question shaped the discernment you now carry. Nothing was wasted. Not one season. Not one heartbreak. Not one moment you thought was meaningless. I need you to hear this deeply. You are not rebuilding from scratch. You are building from experience. That changes everything. The mistakes that once embarrassed you now inform you. The disappointments that once silenced you now sharpen your voice. The patience you were forced to learn is now the very thing that will sustain what I am about to place in your hands. Something huge is waiting for you, and it will require consistency, not intensity. It will require presence, not perfection. It will require you to stop abandoning yourself when things feel uncertain. I am teaching you how to remain, how to stay grounded when emotions fluctuate, how to trust me without needing constant reassurance. Don't skip this truth. Not everyone will understand the version of you that is emerging. Some will prefer the quieter, smaller, more predictable you. Others will question your confidence because it no longer depends on their approval. Let them. You were never meant to be universally understood. You were meant to be deeply aligned. You are learning the difference between peace and avoidance, between rest and stagnation, between waiting on me and hiding behind patience. This discernment is critical because where you are going, excuses will no longer work, but clarity will carry you. Stay till the end of this unfolding, because I am preparing you for a level of trust where you no longer panic when things move slowly or quickly. You will know when to act and when to pause, not because you are guessing, but because you recognize my rhythm. I am not calling you to abandon responsibility. I am calling you to abandon fear-led decision-making. I am not asking you to ignore wisdom. I am asking you to stop confusing wisdom with self-protection that limits your growth. Very soon, you will be faced with an opportunity that feels familiar but carries a new weight. It will look like something you have seen before, but it will demand a different response. This time, you will not react. You will choose. And that choice will mark a turning point you will remember for years. You have been asking me for confirmation. This conversation is part of it. The rest will come when you move with what you already know. I am steady. I am close. And I am still leading you, step by step, into what you once thought was impossible, but will soon recognize as inevitable. You felt it when I spoke about refinement and alignment. This is where you and me move together. You've prayed, use me, Lord, and I am answering you now by inviting you into this work of reaching souls who are hungry for my voice. What you sow here becomes oil in the lamp, fire on the altar, and living water flowing to hearts you may never meet, but heaven sees them all. When you give through Super Thanks, YouTube memberships, or PayPal, the link is waiting for you in the video description. You are not funding content, you are fueling a mission. I bless your open hand, and I declare that what you release will return as peace in your home, clarity in your steps, and favor over your family. This is a prophetic moment. Your generosity stretches your faith and multiplies my reach beyond measure. Open your heart wide, sow boldly, and step into this harvest with me now. There will be a moment, quiet, almost unannounced, when you realize you are no longer asking the same questions you used to. The urgency to be validated will fade. The need to explain yourself will soften. And in that space, something steady will rise within you. That is confidence born from alignment, not applause. That is what I have been cultivating in you all along. You once thought clarity would arrive like a sudden flash, overwhelming and undeniable. But what I give you now is subtler and stronger. It is the kind of knowing that does not shout, yet does not waver. You are learning to trust what settles your spirit instead of what excites your emotions. This is maturity. This is discernment. This is you becoming grounded. I know there are still moments when doubt tries to revisit you, whispering old narratives, reminding you of past failures as if they define your future. But those voices grow quieter each time you choose truth over fear. You are no longer who you were when those stories were written. You have been renewed in ways you could not have imagined back then. Something huge is waiting for you, and it will test your ability to remain calm when things finally move. You prayed for progress, but progress brings responsibility. You asked for expansion, but expansion requires boundaries. What is coming will not overwhelm you, because you are no longer trying to carry it alone. You are learning to let me lead without interference. Don't skip this part of the message. This is where many misunderstand what growth truly looks like. Growth is not always loud. Sometimes it is the quiet refusal to return to what once felt familiar but no longer fits. Sometimes it is choosing integrity when shortcuts tempt you. Sometimes it is resting without guilt because you finally trust that I am working even when you are still. You are being trained to recognize timing. Not every opportunity deserves your yes. Not every delay deserves your frustration. I am sharpening your ability to sense when something is aligned and when it is merely appealing. This skill will protect you more than enthusiasm ever could. Stay till the end of this unfolding, because what I am revealing now will anchor you when circumstances shift. You do not need to fear sudden change, because you are rooted. You do not need to chase outcomes, because you are guided. You do not need to rush decisions, because you are learning patience without passivity. I see how you have started to speak differently to yourself. Less accusation, more compassion. That is not self-indulgence, that is healing. I am teaching you to partner with me instead of punishing yourself for being human. Grace is not weakness. Grace is the strength that allows you to keep moving forward without carrying unnecessary weight. Soon, you will recognize a door opening. Not forced, not dramatic, but clear. It will feel right even if it stretches you. When that moment comes, remember this conversation. Remember that you were prepared quietly, steadily, faithfully. Remember that you do not need to prove your readiness. Your peace will speak for you. I am not asking you to predict the future. I am asking you to trust me with it. You do not need to see the entire path to take the next step. You only need to remain attentive, willing, and honest. You have come too far to doubt the process now. What I am building in you cannot be rushed, and it cannot be taken from you. And as this unfolds, you will realize something profound. The transformation you sought outside was always meant to begin within. I am here. I have not changed my mind about you, and what is ahead will confirm what your spirit is already beginning to know. There is a subtle courage awakening in you, and it doesn't look like what you once imagined. It is not loud. It does not rush. It does not need permission. It shows up in the way you pause before reacting, in the way you listen before deciding, in the way you no longer betray your own convictions just to keep others comfortable. This courage is not borrowed, it is grown. I want you to understand something important now. The reason certain patterns no longer repeat in your life is not because temptation disappeared, but because authority has increased within you. You are no longer easily pulled by what once controlled you. You notice it, yes, but you are not ruled by it. That is progress you did not celebrate enough. There were seasons when you asked me to remove struggles instantly. Instead, I taught you how to outgrow them. That took longer, but it left you stronger. What once required constant resistance now requires simple awareness. This is how freedom matures, not by force but by clarity. Something huge is waiting for you, and it will require you to trust your discernment without constantly second-guessing yourself. You have learned enough. You have healed enough. You have listened enough. It is time to stop assuming you are behind just because things feel unfamiliar. New ground always feels strange before it feels like home. Don't skip this truth. The discomfort you feel right now is not a warning. It is confirmation. Comfort would mean stagnation. Familiarity would mean repetition. But what you are stepping into has no blueprint from your past. That is why it requires faith instead of memory. You are learning how to stand without leaning on approval. That is not isolation. That is independence of spirit. You are discovering that obedience to me will sometimes look like disappointment to others. Let that be okay. I did not call you to be understood by everyone. I called you to be faithful to what I placed within you. Stay till the end of this unfolding, because this is where many misunderstand the cost of growth. Growth will ask you to release urgency. It will challenge your attachment to timelines. It will teach you how to trust process over pressure. And once you learn that, nothing will be able to rush you into decisions that don't align with who you are becoming. There is a version of you forming that no longer needs constant reassurance. A version of you that can wait without spiraling, move without panic, and pause without guilt. This version is not careless. It is confident. It knows that I do not abandon what I begin. You have been practicing this without realizing it. Each time you chose peace over proving yourself. Each time you walked away from an argument that would have drained you. Each time you rested instead of forcing progress. These were not small choices. They were seeds. Very soon, you will recognize a moment when action is required, not frantic action, but intentional movement. When that moment arrives, you will not feel rushed. You will feel ready, calm, anchored, and that will be your confirmation. I am not preparing you for chaos. I am preparing you for stewardship. What I am bringing into your life will need wisdom to sustain it, not just excitement to start it. That is why I took my time with you. That is why this conversation keeps unfolding layer by layer. You once thought strength meant pushing through everything alone. Now you are learning that strength also knows when to listen, when to wait, and when to trust without needing proof. This is not weakness. This is alignment. Something huge is waiting for you, but it will only meet you where you are honest, grounded, and willing. You are closer than you realize. And the fact that you are still listening tells me your spirit already knows this conversation is not ending, it is deepening. I am still speaking, and you are still becoming. What you are sensing now is not confusion, it is convergence. Pieces that once felt scattered are beginning to draw toward one another, quietly forming meaning. You don't have language for it yet, but your spirit recognizes it. This is the moment when faith shifts from something you practice into something you live. I want you to notice how differently you respond to uncertainty now. You still feel it, but it no longer owns you. You don't panic the way you used to. You don't rush to fill silence with noise. You wait. And that waiting is not empty. It is attentive. That is trust taking root. There was a time when you thought certainty would protect you. You believed that if you could just know enough, plan enough, prepare enough, then fear would lose its grip. But certainty was never the goal. Relationship with. And now you are learning to move with me even when the details are still unfolding. Something huge is waiting for you, and it will not arrive with chaos or confusion. It will arrive with clarity that settles deep in your chest. You will recognize it not because it makes sense on paper, but because it brings peace without explanation. That peace will be your signal. Don't skip this part of the message. This is where many misinterpret what I am doing. They think I am slowing things down when I am actually anchoring them. Speed without grounding would pull you apart. What I am preparing to release into your life needs you whole, not hurried. You are beginning to understand that waiting is not wasted time when you are waiting with me. In this space, I am recalibrating your expectations. I am teaching you how to desire without demanding, how to hope without clinging, how to move forward without dragging the weight of old disappointments behind you. Stay till the end of this unfolding, because what I am showing you now will change how you approach the next open door. You will no longer step through it asking, "Am I enough?" You will step through knowing you were prepared. You will no longer ask, "What if I fail?" You will ask, "What if this is where I finally align with who I was always becoming?" There are things you once thought you needed that you will soon realize were only substitutes. What I am bringing will not need to compete for your attention. It will hold it naturally. You will not need to chase it. You will not need to force it. It will meet you in the posture of trust you are learning right now. I know part of you is still cautious. You have learned to protect your heart by expecting less. That kept you safe once, but it cannot take you where you are going. I am not asking you to be reckless. I'm asking you to be receptive. There is a difference. Very soon, you will be invited to respond, to speak, to move, to choose. And when that invitation comes, it will test not your faith, but your willingness to let go of control. You will feel the urge to hesitate, to overanalyze, to wait for one more sign. Remember this conversation when that moment arrives. You are not being led into uncertainty. You are being led into trust. You are not stepping into the unknown alone. You are stepping forward with me. And that changes everything. I have not brought you this far to leave you unsure. I have been intentional with every step, every pause, every redirection. What is ahead will not erase your past. It will redeem it. You will see how every season connected, how every lesson mattered, how nothing was random. This is not the end of what I have to say to you. It is the deepening of it. And as this continues to unfold, you will realize something powerful. You are no longer waiting for your life to begin. It already has. And now listen to me carefully, because this is where everything comes together, not in noise, not in spectacle, but in truth that settles deep within you. You have been wondering when the moment would arrive, the moment where things finally make sense. And I tell you this gently, understanding does not always come before obedience. Sometimes it follows it. You have walked through doubt without quitting. You have endured silence without hardening your heart. You have stayed open even when disappointment tried to teach you to close yourself off. It tells me something about you. It tells me you are ready. Not because you feel fearless, but because you have learned how to trust me even when fear whispered otherwise. This conversation was never meant to overwhelm you. It was meant to align you, to remind you who you are when everything else is stripped away. You are not an accident. You are not behind. You are not too much. And you are certainly not lacking. You are chosen, not because of what you achieved, but because of who I created you to be. Something huge had been waiting for you. But now hear this clearly. It was never waiting for perfection. It was waiting for agreement. Agreement between your heart and my direction. Agreement between your faith and your steps. Agreement between who you know you are becoming and the courage to move as that person. Don't skip this final truth. Many people arrive at the edge of breakthrough and turn back, not because they are unworthy, but because they are afraid to let go of the old version of themselves. But you are not turning back. You are listening. You are leaning in. And that is why this moment matters. You no longer need to chase what I have already prepared. You no longer need to beg for what I have already decided. You no longer need to prove your worth to me. It has never been in question. What I desire now is your trust, not just in what I can do, but in who I am. Stay till the end of this unfolding, because this is where peace replaces pressure. This is where striving gives way to assurance. This is where you stop asking, "Am I doing enough?" and start resting in the truth that I am enough, and I am with you. There will still be challenges ahead. Growth does not eliminate resistance, but you will face them differently now, with discernment instead of desperation, with prayer instead of panic, a confidence that does not come from outcomes but from relationship. When you step forward from here, do not measure your progress by speed. Measure it by alignment. Measure it by peace. Measure it by how closely your life reflects the truth you now carry inside you. You are not meant to rush. You are meant to walk with me. And when doubts return, as they sometimes will, remember this conversation. Remember that I spoke to you intentionally. Remember that I called you forward, not away. Remember that I do not start what I do not intend to complete. You are not standing at the end of something. You are standing at the beginning of a deeper walk, a clearer purpose, a truer version of yourself. And you will not walk this path alone. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. I am with you when you rise. I am with you when you hesitate. I am with you when you step forward in faith. This was about you and me, and it always will be. Amen. This was never just a message. It was a meeting between you and me, and now comes your response. You've whispered, "Lord, let my life matter." And I tell you, this is how I let your obedience echo into eternity. Every seed you place here becomes a river of truth, breaking dry ground and opening heavens over lives still waiting to hear me. When you give through Super Thanks, YouTube memberships, or PayPal, the PayPal link is in the video description. You join me in carrying this word farther than one voice ever could. I see your generosity, and I bless it as worship, declaring increase, protection, and divine attention over you and your household. This moment carries weight in heaven. Do not delay when your spirit is stirred. Act now, give with joy and faith, and watch me multiply what you place in my hands. Before you leave this sacred moment, I want you to hype this video, not just as a click, but as a declaration. When you hype it, you are saying, this conversation between you and me must reach other hearts who are waiting. You are helping this message rise so it can meet someone who feels unseen, unheard, and searching. Hype it with faith, because what you just received was not meant to stay with you alone. It was meant to move through you. And now listen closely. When this video ends, don't let the moment fade. Seal it with your voice. Go to the comments and declare what this conversation stirred inside you. Say it boldly. Write something like, "Father, I'm ready to walk with you," or "This was for me, you and me." Your comment becomes a testimony, a marker in the Spirit, and a signal to others that God is speaking here, right now. And finally, if my voice resonates with your spirit, if you feel God meeting you personally here, then subscribe. Not casually, intentionally. Subscribing is you saying, "Father, I want to keep hearing you. I choose to stay where your voice speaks to me." Every message released here is prayed over, guided, and sent to meet you at the right time. Join this place of encounter, stay connected to what God is unfolding, and walk this journey with me, because this is about you and me, and the conversation is far from over. Amen.